And we're live. Hi, everyone. Today is May 10th. May 10th, Thursday, 2018.
It is.
Hi, Hazel. Thank you for joining us. We're glad
Hazel.
you can join us. And we are live on Instagram as well. Hi, everybody on Instagram.
Hang on, we're telling more followers. Tell them.
Hi, my bear.
Hi, her bear.
Hi, Miss Chin. We're just waiting for a couple of people, so we're taking advantage and saying
Hey,
hello.
Biddy.
Hello. You are our heart.
You have issues, girl.
My niece always says, Titi, why you have a heart there? And I said, because I loved you before you were born, so I made sure to put it on my wrist.
Aww. Instead of telling her you got a tattoo so she doesn't see it. That's really what it is.
No, it really is because I love them.
I know.
Hey, B. How you doing? So tonight, as we continue to wait for more people to log in, we are going to be discussing the pros and cons of single parenting. And why? Why are we discussing this? We're discussing this because it is one of the fastest growing family type households in the United States. 83% of single parent homes are mothers, and dads are also on the rise. So in comparison, right, there's 13.6 million single mothers, and there are 2.6 million single dads.
Wow.
So when we're talking about single parenting, we're not just referring anymore to what used to be the majority, well, what still is the majority, but what's commonly perceived to be the household of a single mother, because now we also have single dads.
Yeah.
And we actually know some single dads too.
Some really great single dads.
Yes.
I don't know if they're looking, but shout yourself out.
But in the last 10 years, single dad homes have risen 60%. Now, if we're looking at the whys, there's the common divorce households, there are widowers, but now there's also domestic violence cases, there are addiction cases, incarceration. Y'all know how I feel about the mass incarceration, school to jail pipeline. Couples not marrying and then deciding later they don't want to live under the same roof. And there's also the more popular among the women who are deciding to be single mothers because they are at that marrying age, 35 and above, and they are deciding to become single mothers because their clock is ticking.
We know what that pressure is like.
Yeah.
So,
before we go on to talking about more statistics,
pros and cons
too.
And a lot of people that we spoke to said there are no pros. There are no pros to being a single parent. But I beg to differ.
Okay.
Because I'm the optimist.
She really is, though.
I really am. It's a little bit of a problem.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think maybe.
Why would optimism be a problem? I can honestly say I don't think I've ever heard you outrightly be negative about a situation. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, it is another conversation. But so all the single parents out there who disagree with any of the pros that people put out there, just be optimistic, be open-minded that there can be some pros in this journey of raising your children by yourself, or majority by yourself, right?
To be Block said there's more hugs and more kisses as a single parent.
There is.
They're so cute.
There's so lots of love and kisses and feet in the butt, and they sleep on top of you. All those kind of good things.
I still got feet in the butt, so only it's a big bear. So I want to share my first experience because I didn't grow up in a single parent home, but my best friend, my god sister, my sister Sally, did. And so I don't know that as little kids, if I paid I don't know if I paid attention as much to the struggles that my godmother faced, but definitely when I became older, I was like, oh crap, wow, that must have been really hard. And I'm not going to tell her story because it's not my story to tell. But all I know is, like, one of the first things that I felt bad about was the fact that I was a comelona and all up in her house eating dinner almost every day. Eating dinner almost every day. And here's my godmother feeding me like the beautiful woman that she is. And, you know, she was a single mother of 5.
Wow.
But yeah, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. I love her to death. But that was my first experience in a single parent home. And I say that because I was in Cindy's house like every day. That was my second home.
I have a question about that. Did you, as a child, because you had both parents home, did you recognize any differences in your behaviors as children because she only had her mom there and you had both parents? I mean, I guess in terms of maybe materialistic things that you had or things that you could do, or, you know, maybe even emotionally. I know it's not your story, but I just mean from your perspective.
I mean, I was definitely more of a brat. But I don't know if that's because I was just a brat. Regardless of how I would have been raised.
She's a brat.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm super biased, but I mean, I think Celia is the most amazing person, period. Like, she never complained about anything. When I tell you about a person who definitely is all about peace and love and heart, and I mean that's her.
I would get
in
along
essence.
with her.
You totally would.
I totally would.
But I can't see anybody who doesn't get along with her.
Yeah.
But like I all I know is that once we got into like our teenage years and stuff, there were things that held us back. Like if there was something I wanted to do and I wanted her to do it with me, if we didn't have money, then we wouldn't do it collectively. You know what I mean? But I mean, we were both broke. Yeah. I don't know. We didn't focus on material things. We didn't focus on what we didn't have. We always focused on what we did have, because I mean, my dad was one that would always be like, smile, Jesus loves you. And so me and her were always like this super uber, we know God loves us and life has to be great type of.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I wonder if any of you guys grew up in a single parent household, how that affected you emotionally, especially going to school with your peers who had a family with both parents there. I mean, I think that would be really interesting to know.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I don't want to tell her story. Like, I'd rather her tell her story on her own if she wants to tell it. But like and we went to Catholic school for 8 years with the same people, and I'm sure that there were people in our school, because anyone who went to Transfiguration, whether you want to admit it or not, we still have that closeness just because we went to the same school for 8 years. But like, I'm sure there were people there who had single parents, and I mean, I don't know if as kids you really thought about that as much. And I definitely know that I had a mentality of privilege because I had both parents in my house. So I just figured everybody has both parents in their house, and I didn't recognize that wasn't the case for everyone. But I don't know if back in the 80s, if that was prevalent for people to have single parent homes like that.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe I should have looked that up.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you, because I think that you are.
Don't make me cry. Like, let me tell you something. This woman will text me the craziest things at work, and I am legit crying at work. And I'm like, this is the 5th time that you text me and want to engage in conversation or just say something beautiful, and it makes me cry. You're not going to do it. Though. You're not doing it on.
But I have to. So.
This is so. Being a single mom, you come on the live looking like this. Number one, because you are like, work, get the baby's hair done, get them bathed, get them dressed. So you come up on a live looking like this. But anyhow, no, I am fasting, so I can't have any wine. I'm so mad about that.
So let's talk about this. You've been a single mom for
a year.
Mm-hmm. And not only are you a single mom, but you are an attorney.
Yes.
What do you want, turtles?
They're getting snacks. Oh. Eat them up. Go ahead. Go up and eat them up.
You
Yes, please.
you are an attorney.
Bring 'em up.
You are an entrepreneur. You are a campaign manager.
I am.
And
I'm crazy. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
and let's be real, you are
a single woman.
Well, duh.
But I'm just saying
that's not where I was going.
But I'm just saying I want to throw
you are a sense of support for your parents as well, because if your parents get sick, you're there.
Oh well, yeah.
So let's be real. They help you out as well. We're not denying that.
Yeah.
But there have been some times when you have to step up as the oldest and do what you got to do for your parents.
Absolutely.
So, before we start talking about the cons, let's talk about the pros, because you are that positive person. So I know you're gonna go there. Not that that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't think of many pros. No. I had one. So the first one is because I have control issues. I'm working on it. I think a pro of being a single parent is I get to make all the rules and nobody can fight me on it. I mean, these are the rules because mommy said so, and they're just the rules. So there's no one that I have to compromise with or, speak with about, whether the kids can do this or do that. I mean, I just kind of get to do what I want.
To be Black said, more kisses, more hugs. So that's another pro.
That is another pro. But, I feel like I would get that anyway, because as a mom, I think of two boys, and many moms of two boys say that, like, the boys are very attached to the moms and you get, like, more love than to daddies. So I think I would get that anyway.
Oh, really?
As a mother, yeah.
Well, yeah, my brother was the only boy, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah. I do have another pro. Another pro is that on co-parenting time, I actually get a day off and it rarely happens, but when it does, I'm like, wow, I'm so excited about this weekend to myself. I'm like, ooh, this is great. Like, I enjoy it. Or a week. And it sounds selfish, but I really do appreciate that time. And I'm like, this kind of could work for me. Like, I get time off, and there's a lot of moms who don't get any time off.
Yes.
Because...
And it's not good.
And it's not good, Sugar Bear, no. So, that's a pro. I can't really...
Not good.
I've talked to other friends, and, I've asked other single women, and their comment was, there are no pros. They're like, that's
what they said outright.
Yeah,
there's no pros.
They said there are no pros. It is all cons, and I resent my husband or my partner for not fulfilling this end of the deal with me, and that's very real.
Yeah,
and for a lot of people.
And that's not to say that we're looking for the pros so that we can make light of the situation, because I don't think there's anything light about
absolutely not
having to do the hardest work in the world by yourself.
Right.
Looking up information on single parenting in Massachusetts and New York alone, single moms and dads spend half of their income on just daycare.
Yeah. Half
of their income. So if you're making $30,000, you're spending $15,000 of that on daycare. And now we're talking about if you have below school age children. So if you have two children who are below school aged, that's a lot of money coming out of your income. And we're being specific to Massachusetts and New York because that's where we are living and from.
Right.
And so Massachusetts and New York especially is more difficult because, for those people who are saying whatever, they have vouchers for that. Well, they may have vouchers for that, but currently New York and Massachusetts, many of those vouchers have been frozen, and those that have not been frozen have a waiting period of 90 days to 2 years. So imagine being a single mom who needs to go to work, who has 2 children under the school age. And not only that, but we're talking about after school programs. You need to pay for those as well. And you have to wait 90 days to 2 years to get your child accepted into this program. Not fun.
It is. It's a real struggle, and I say it all the time. and I've said it to a friend of mine on numerous occasions. I'm like, I don't consider myself a single parent because I know moms who, they do it on their own anyway. I mean, the father is usually the one who's working the most hours, and so they're really left with the brunt of the responsibility to raise the kids, to bring them to school, to take them, to pick them up, to bathe them, they really are in charge of managing that entire process anyway. So
do you think that more it's becoming more common with double parent homes that the father plays more of a role in helping to do that, or do you think that that's the breed of men who do not help in the household? Do you think it's a dying breed? Because I would like to think that it is. Like, I would like to think that millennials and people who were raised in a more inclusive United States, because during the 90s, women started to go to work more and women started to become professionals. And that's why now we have so many women who are having babies on their own, because they decided to prioritize. And that's also why we have a lot of single dads, because women are beginning to prioritize their careers and they don't want that family life. So I'm thinking, is that a dying breed where the men don't help out in the household anymore?
I'm not sure that it's dying. I think that it's becoming, I'm not sure. We have to start we should invite a whole host of couples across the spectrum with children so they can talk about it. But you are seeing more and more, I think, men who are saying, even from our last live where we had Annette and Pete was saying, I pitch in, we take turns, I clean the house and I take care of the household, and sometimes I take care of the kids when she's going to work and working many hours. So I think men, because culturally, I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's cultural where men are like, well, if I'm from the Caribbean, a lot of Caribbean men, there are roles, and the women take on the role as the home giver and the caretaker, and they take on that burden. And the men, it's expected and it's okay for the men to say, well, I work and that's all I do. And not to diminish the working aspect, but the roles are very clear and the lines are drawn what the responsibility of each partner is.
Brandon, go play upstairs. Go play upstairs.
In your room, please. So this is the other hard part about being a single parent, and I think specifically for me, because I'm a single mom, is you're raising two boys, and usually the father is the authoritative figure. I mean, not in all households, because sometimes the mother is the one who lays it down. In my case, I have to be both. So one of the cons was I have to play good cop and bad cop, and that, I think, goes to, more of a detriment where the kids don't know whether mommy's being good or mommy's being bad. And if I'm always good because they're good kids, and then when I'm being, I have to,
what they consider to be mean,
right? I have to play the bad cop and tell them no and be very firm and very strict with them. They don't know what to do with that. So sometimes they think I'm joking with them when I'm not, and then I have to get even more, I would say, assertive. And so I think that dynamic
and sometimes Titi has to be the mean one.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm all for it.
Yes,
so
good job.
It's hard.
Sit down like an audience.
Yes,
good
my
job.
children are in the audience, but no talking.
So B is saying that men are taking more of a focus at home. There's a shift, but Europe is ahead of us. Europe has always been ahead of us. Let's be real. Europe was ahead of us in the women revolution. Europe was ahead of us in the sexual revolution. And I wouldn't be surprised that they're ahead of us.
Everything.
Healthcare. Hello, women get off. What, Sweden?
Maternity leave a year.
Maternity leave for a year in Sweden. And here, how much do they get paid leave after pregnancy?
Not everybody gets paid leave.
Nah.
Not everybody. Yeah.
Maybe if you work in education. Maybe if you work in education. Maybe if you're an entrepreneur, but then you still have to work because it's your business.
Yeah, I think New York City implemented FMLA where women have to get 6 weeks
that's
paid, but you pay into it, and
so you're paying for yourself
like
to
that.
be able to take time off.
Yeah.
They're not paying you.
Yeah.
It's not like it's vacation pay.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's
which it
matching.
should be.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to pay into it. Like, dude, I just had a baby.
It's hard. 6 weeks. I mean, that's another thing, but that's a different conversation, I think.
It is.
Altogether.
Shout out to Angie's husband, because she said if he didn't help out, her house would fall apart.
Yay for Manny.
Manny's the best, Hazel said. So, let's talk about the impact.
This is hold on. I wanted to say one thing before I forgot. So I mentioned before that sometimes I feel like I'm not a single parent because I have a lot of support. My parents are wonderful. I thank God for them. And I have great friends and everygoing to get sentimental because I will.
Are you going to cry?
No,
you need a
stop.
shoulder.
I will. Anyway, bye. So, what I was going to say, she made me lose my train of thought. So, but I was going to say the difference is between the moms, because I was saying a lot of times moms in two-parent households shoulder a lot of that responsibility and burden even when they're professionals and working, to also come home and manage the household. And the difference I would say is, because I really had to think long and hard about it, and I said the difference is I don't get to just leave my kids with someone, because really I could be like, if I needed to leave the house for a breath, a walk, I can just be like to my husband, here, bye, I'm going. Whether you want to watch them or not, I am going. And I would feel 100% comfortable with just leaving them. Whereas, and I think that's the difference between a single parent, even one who has support.
I think I'm going to have the problem where T is going to take them out and not tell me. And I'm gonna
be the father. Upset. Oh my God!
Stop. No. When I mean take them out, I mean like he's gonna like fly somewhere and then call me and be like, "Hey, we're in St. Thomas."
That's what you think. He ain't taking them nowhere. He ain't taking them kids on no plane to St. Thomas. He's gonna leave them with you. But the other thing I was gonna say is I don't have the luxury, because I always feel guilty leaving my children with someone else for me to do something for myself. Whereas if it's my husband's turn to watch them, my ex-husband, I would feel okay. I'm like, because it's his responsibility. So I feel the burden of sharing responsibility and putting it off on somebody else, like my parents, or asking a friend or something, And so I think that's really the difference, because when you're with your husband, you can be like, I'm leaving to get my nails done. Bye, watch the kids. No guilt. Me doing that with my parents, I'm like, oh, would you mind? Or sometimes I'm like, oh, you're playing with the kids. Nice. I'm running out, because it's a guilt. And then I feel the pressure to rush home because I'm like, I need to hurry up. I can't leave them too long. So I think really that's the difference. For me, in terms of reconciling the mothers who really take care of the households and work, and me being a single parent who has support, a very great support system, it would really be just the guilt that I feel leaving my kids, with someone who is not their parents, because it's our responsibility.
Right. And I think more often than not, there's more single parents who don't have that extra support. Yep. And so I can't even imagine being on 24/7.
I really can't either. I don't know how you ladies do it, if you do it alone, or I mean, daycare is expensive. Finding a babysitter, someone that you trust to watch your children, and that's a trust factor, and it's also a monetary factor. So that's that.
Some of the other stuff that I was able to find is the fact that out of the statistics that I found, 37% of single parents are in the poverty line. 32% of them are food insecure, which means that they may have a roof over their heads, they may be providing for their kids, but they still don't have security as to where their food is coming from on a day-to-day basis. And then 50% have never been married, 29% are divorced. But B mentioned something about, single parenting being hard on the kids. She said that sometimes they feel like they have to pick up the weight, and it's important to make the kid feel like a kid, right? Yeah. But what happens when, and even in a Brody,
don't put it on the table, baby.
You want to come here? You winking your eye? That's what you're trying to do.
Oh my God, he winks his eye. So fresh.
Even in a double parent home, I know that there were times when my mom needed help from us, more especially from my older sister, in order to be able to do some household stuff. So like, again, I think it's a cultural thing where the older siblings a lot of the times pick up some of the work that's done by the mom. But in a single parent home, I'm sure that the pressure is more intense. And some of what I was able to gather about the effects on children, it says that kids who come from single parent homes don't have the same economic or human resources available to them. They're more likely to drop out of school. They're more likely to be teen pregnancy. Yeah, teen pregnancy. And they're more likely to experience divorce in adulthood. And I thought that was pretty interesting because I was wondering, is it that they're more likely to experience divorce in adulthood because they saw that their parent could do it on their own, and so they're like, I don't need anyone, and they don't have that mentality of
working together
with someone or working through things in order to stay together. Like, does that build up a resiliency to the point where it's a detriment?
Right. Listen, I think there are a whole host of parenting structures and issues. Like when you're raising your child, I think that there are so many things. I mean, divorce affects children, not communicating effectively in a household affects children. So I think definitely all of these things affect children and their future, right? Because we're products of our experience. And what I try to do is I don't want to say normalize the fact that there aren't two parents in the household, because I tell my kids, and unfortunately, it is kind of a normal situation. Yeah. Like they go to, my son goes to school, and half of the kids in his class don't, their parents are not together.
Really?
Yes. And so I try to normalize it for him, not in the sense that it's okay, so that he grows up thinking that, you get married, you have children, you stay together, you work it through. Not in that sense, but that there is nothing different because you have two parents who love you, and having one parent in the household doesn't make you any different than any of the kids in your class. So I normalize it for him in that way, that you are no different than anybody else just because your family structure is different. And I think that's the same for blended families, or you have to set the tone for your kids that they are, because they are unique, it doesn't make them any less loved or important than their peers, right? So I try to normalize the difference in that you're the same. It doesn't make you a different person, although I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
What are some of the things you worry about?
In terms of?
What are some of the things you worry about?
Can you guys go over there, please? Thank you for joining the live. Say bye.
Bye,
everyone.
Brandon's been waiting for his stardom.
They made their cameo.
I have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, guys.
Okay, shh. Go ahead. Thanks. Go with your brother.
You coming?
Yeah, I'm coming. Go.
So,
Bye.
bye. I love you. Bye. I love you.
Brandon, go take your shower, please.
So, single parent children do not have a role model, so they sometimes don't know how to cope. Can you elaborate on that, Shum? Because, so yes, I agree, because they have less access to resources and people, right? But what about those families that are bigger families, and they may not have, the mothers may not have the support when it comes to, let's say, babysitting or finances, but they have the support when it comes to having an uncle come by or a cousin spend time with the kids or something like that. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I know you know about that stuff.
Yeah, and I think what she's saying too, which is a concern, you asked my concerns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what do you worry about when it comes to being a single mom? Maybe do I explain it a little bit more, or you?
Yeah, no, you can go ahead.
Okay, like okay, so your situation is a little bit different in that yes, you have more support and you were able to finish school
Yeah.
But 40% of single mothers are not able to finish college, not even start college.
Yeah.
And about 25% of them don't even get to finish high school. So your situation is a little bit different in the sense that you were able to finish college, you were able to get your Juris Doctorate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so maybe,
but yes. So the struggle is different financially, right? Because sometimes, and speaking to some women that I know who are single moms, sometimes you sacrifice those higher paying jobs that have less flexibility and require more demands on you. And so sometimes it's a sacrifice financially. I can't take a higher paying job that puts more demand on me. So I kind of have to fall back into something else that professionally is not as fulfilling and pays a little less, but it gives me the flexibility to spend time with my children. Mm-hmm. And so while, yes, I'm a professional, I have a Juris Doctorate degree or a doctorate degree.
Right, because there may be some people saying, whatever, she's an attorney, she can do it.
But and I'm so blessed that I can, and that I am better off than most people, because I have privilege, right? I have support, I have friends, I have, I have a good cushion, but there are sacrifices there too, right? So there's a certain potential and level that I can't reach because I have to make sacrifices, like any parent, I would say. All parents have to make sacrifices, but I don't have a partner where I can be like, okay, you're going to sacrifice this turnaround, and then, in 5 years, it'll be, So, and I know a lot of single moms who are professionals who, it's sad that I know so many. I know so many professional women who are also single mothers, and they make sacrifices every day because they need the flexibility to spend time with their children, even more so. No, thank you, sugar. Even more so, the flexibility to spend time with their child, because there is only one parent in the household. And so I feel like it takes a special kind of parent to be a single parent. It takes a special kind of person to be parents. But absolutely, because there are a lot of things you have to deal with. Like for me, I'm like, how do I balance? Can I have it all? Can I have it all? Can I really do all the things that I do? Something has to I have to sacrifice something,
Do you well, there's two questions that are in my mind, but I got to make this quick because we almost got to go. But do you have, and I'm not saying, okay, I'm just going to come with it. Do you feel some kind of resentment when you see that there's a double parent home and the person is complaining about their situation, or like, do you feel some type of way when you're around people who are in a double parent home, are running a double parent home?
I think the benefit that I have is that I didn't start as a single parent, right? So I know the struggle, and that's why it's hard for me to differentiate being a single parent and just having two parents, because I was married, and I know what that struggle is for mothers, right? Even having your husband there. So I understand that struggle. So you can vent and complain because I know what it's like. It's real. So no, I don't. But because I can look back, because I'm on the other end now, I can look back and say, the grass isn't greener on the other side, and I can bring another perspective to the wife, to the mother, and say, well, if he wasn't there, this is what you would have to do. So just be thankful that he's there and try to figure out another way. So I think I bring that perspective because I'm able to see it from a different side. Because I'm an optimist.
Yes, you are.
I'm the light.
So Shuma explained it a little bit more. She said you have to explain to your kids that you are doing the best that you can. And that's definitely important. I think as an educator, the struggle is real with a boo or without a boo.
Who says that?
Shum.
Oh.
That's my sister-in-law. The struggle is real with a boo or without a boo. Yes. I can only say yes because I've seen my mom and I see my sister, and I saw you when you were with someone. So I definitely agree with that, Shum. My train of thought I just lost my train of thought.
I wanted to say though, here we go. Here is let me give you the cons, because I didn't do cons, right?
Yeah, we did. We did
While
the
you're
cons of
thinking?
like what happens with the kids.
Oh,
and
but
then
let me give you
parent-
the cons of like.
Yeah,
so
let me-
I did that
let me
while you're
remember.
thinking, right?
Yeah.
So we did professional raising, cons, pros.
Dating.
But dating, that's what was that you're gonna say? 'Cause
No,
that's what I
but
was
it
gonna
just
say.
came to me.
Let me tell you the cons. There are no the pros.
That's
of
a whole
dating-
nother life.
But hold
right
on, that
there.
is a whole nother live because I got some great guests. They got some juicy stories. It ain't gonna be mine. Sorry, y'all not gonna know my business. But I got some guests who want to share.
That's the whole point of the podcast.
I know, but I'm not there yet. Thank you. But let me tell you, a con of dating when single is that you really legit.
Oh, I
have
remember now.
No
Okay,
time. Write it down. Like you don't have any time. Like I don't have no time to date these people. As much as I want to, because where are we going? You're not coming to my house because I don't know you.
My kids don't know you.
Yeah, it's just really hard. Like just making time, and I think
we
maybe
should
use
talk
it as
about
an
that.
excuse. Maybe I'm like, oh, I don't have time to date, so I'm not gonna do it. No, I'm too busy. I don't want to. No, it's really hard, and I think it's also hard in the very beginning when I first started dating. I used to think, I'm like, who's gonna want to date me? I have kids, and I'm old, but I'm cute though. And then I was like, but you cute, so you good money. You're gonna be alright. I really did say that though.
Women have to be strong to raise children. It takes a village. It sure
It
does.
does take a village.
Because
Amen.
let me tell you, I had a lot of people who were willing to snitch on me if I did something bad. And that's why I kept in line. Wait, but my mom was a single mom. But still, it does take a village to raise a kid.
It takes a village.
So what I was going to
Yes.
say, and I'm going to pin that. I'm going to pin dating as a single parent for next Thursday. Because there's a lot of juicy stuff right there.
Not my juice.
I'm going to air out her juice. So what I was going to say,
Messed up.
I'm going to air out your jugo. And what I was going to say was...
That sounds all types of wrong. I'm just thinking about it.
Pink elephants.
God.
Okay, so what I was going to say, as an educator, I highly, highly recommend, and I say this to you all the time, don't sugarcoat things for your kids. Definitely be wise with your language and how you relay messages to your children. But children know so much more and they pay attention so much more than we give them credit for. So when you think your child is not paying attention, they're paying attention. And when you think that you're going to lie to them about something or they're asking you a question about something, it's probably because they already heard you talking to someone else about it. So keep it as real as you possibly can, age appropriate with your kids.
About what?
Just about like even how you talk to them about the fact that they're coming from a single parent home, and if they go to someone else's house and they have questions about it, don't just say, oh, you're okay, you'll be fine, right. Mommy loves you. No, talk to them about it. Yeah. Because when kids ask you questions, it's because it's something that's really been on their minds.
I learned that from you, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'd just be like, you're good, you'll be all right. She's like, no, talk to them.
Yeah, kids, and especially if you have a child who's emotionally intelligent. Ooh, mama child.
They're a lot of work. But yes.
They're a lot of work. They're like intelligent on another level. And if they're asking you questions, they're not asking you because they don't know. They're asking you because they're trying to process and they want to make sure they're processing in truth. And so you are the person that they're looking to in order to say, okay, this is a good thought, this is a bad thought, because they don't have that logical thinking yet. So they're saying, Mommy, can you please verify this information that's going through in my head? Mm-hmm. And so if we're standing there as the adult, as the person that they're looking to trust, to love them the most, and we're lying to them because we think we're protecting them, you're actually doing the opposite. You're teaching them that it's okay to lie to make things better.
True.
And you're teaching them that, they
can express their feelings.
Right.
It's not okay to just be truthful in the circumstance that you're in. So that you grow up like me. Well, I'd be like, I'm good.
And you're not. And you're not. And then it takes me telling you, cracking you on your cocoa to be like, you're not good. Can we please have you talk about this?
True.
And vent. Be mad. It's okay.
It's true. Yeah.
So please be as honest as possible with your kids. They know more than you give them credit for. And usually our kids are emotionally intelligent first, and we kill that connection of people to people. We kill that connection of being able to understand real life situations and process real life situations in a healthy way, because we decide to lie to them, because we decide to sugarcoat things, because we decide to tell them, forget what you're thinking and what you're feeling and pretend that it's okay because mommy loves you.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, but more people do it often than not. And usually when they come to school, that's when they blow up. And I know, because I've had a lot of kiddos who go through that. So, you know, no one's saying you have to be like, you know, what do they say? Keeping it real, Chappelle style. Nobody's saying you got to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, speak to them in truth and speak to them in love and season your words. Yeah. And a child will understand, and you will be amazed at their responses. You can learn something from them. My rule has always been, as a teacher, I respect my kids. I respect them as I would respect an elder, because if I respect them, I'm teaching them to respect me. And we don't have no issues in the classroom. Everybody's respecting everybody. They know that they can come to me when they're upset. They know that they can talk to me about whatever is upsetting them, because I'm not there in a place of judgment. I'm not there to lie to them. I'm there to help them sort out their thoughts, and I'm there to help them see truth in a loving way.
And I would say to that, you know, as a single parent, a lot of times your frustrations start to manifest in your children, because they see you harried, they see you're crazy, you're yelling, you're doing all these things, and then their day begins that way in school. So they're rushed, and they're stressed, and anxiety. They start to manifest anxiety. And I noticed once that we were harried, right? Because my children like to sleep late, hallelujah, but that doesn't work on school days. So because I get home late, they get to sleep late because they wait for me.
Wait. They like to sleep late except on vacation.
They like to sleep late only on school days, is what I should say. Not on the weekends, and no time on vacation, just on school days. So I get home late from work, they stay up, they wait for me, so they get to bed late, right? Then, you know, I feel guilty because I'm home late, so they're going to bed late because of me, right? So I feel guilty, and I'm like, I'll let them sleep an extra 15 minutes. What does that do? And they're slow. They are the slowest children in the world. Bless their little turtle hearts.
They're babies.
Oh my God, but I don't have patience. I'm like, put on the shoes, tie the shoes, get on your jacket,
get them sneakers that they don't have to tie.
But hold on. Then I realized I was saying, you know what? I said, why am I making them crazy? I'm legit making them crazy, and I'm making myself crazy. So what I did was, and for any other moms, if this is helpful to you, this was helpful to me.
For single parents.
Yeah, you know, I wake up earlier, and you probably guys already do this, but I'm in a learning process, right? Because y'all gonna be like, duh. Even regular moms with 2-parent households do this.
Listen, can I tell you,
I wake up earlier. Yeah, listen, I wake up earlier.
She's at my mother's house by 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, hell no. That won't be me. I can't do 6:30 in the morning. I'm a spoiled brat. You hear this? But anyhow, I wake up early. I do the things I have to do for myself before they wake up. I get myself ready. I get their breakfast, and then I wake them up. And that way I can help them in their preparation process. And that doesn't always work. It doesn't always go that way. But for the majority of the time, it helps manage me and manage them. And we are so much less crazy in the morning. I'm not yelling. I'm not frustrated. And it really makes a difference. And I also learned that my son, your children hold a mirror up, right? They're your mirror. So the things that you see them doing, how they're behaving, is really a reflection of what you're saying and what you're doing, right? Because they imitate everything you do. So I started noticing that Brandon, my older son, my 6-year-old, would be yelling and so frustrated with Brody. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Take a deep, I'm like, what are you doing? And it wasn't until I spoke to someone else, another mother, and she was like, but he probably sees you doing that. And I'm like,
she'll be saying, iron their kids at night. I don't think she irons their clothes.
No, I don't iron their clothes. They're young. They're all set. But yeah, you know, and I realized, and I said, oh my God, I have to stop yelling and right. And
you
I'm like,
also
because
started meditating too.
I did. I started doing
And
yoga
praying.
and doing all, and it really made. I listened to worship music
that
with them
me time.
in the car, and they start singing Jesus and
Aww.
everything. God is good. You're my thought, and I turn around and I am laughing because I'm like, you guys are so cute.
I gotta give you my CDs. I have kid CDs.
You should, but it makes a difference. So having a smooth morning it makes your morning go better, your day go better, and it's really more helpful to them in single parents and 2-parent households. But I say it for single parents because a lot of the times you're the only one doing every single thing. So I hope that helps somebody.
You're so strong. Tell the kids the truth because they are friends. I was gonna touch your muscles.
Oh,
tell the kids.
Feels good, right? Oh, okay, got it.
Yoga. Tell the kids the truth because their friends don't know shit. Train your kids the right way. Yes, train your kids in the way they should go and they shall never part from it. And Grati said my life every single day.
I know. See, I'm telling you.
Guys, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We have to cut it short. Well, not really because we went over. But next week we will be talking about dating and single parent life because I think there's some who go there. Thank you for joining us. Please share. Please like. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If there's a topic that we haven't touched yet. We are uploading our Labor of Love series featuring all our beautiful mothers and their experiences with pregnancy and conception and birth and raising your children and just what motherhood is about. We're so excited to share those episodes with you. Mommies and Mimosas is coming up. We will share a date very soon. Absolutely. Keep sharing, keep liking. We love you. We appreciate you.
We do.
Anything else?
Let's shout out people who were here because
shout out to my brother.
Shout out to Eddie Pat, the Stealth Bomb, Shaitan,
Gigi,
Hazel,
B,
Grati,
Angie, thank you, Mark, thank you,
BK Lioness, Hancho, Messina,
Wendy,
Love Life.
Te adoro mi vida. That's my cousin. She's like my twin. Ana Rosa, see you soon, girlfriend.
To be bleak, Miss
Shum Shum, my sister-in-law.
Who else?
Angela, glad to see you on here. Julia,
everybody.
Oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. She's my coworker. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. See you next week, Thursday.
Be gentle with single people. Single parents.
Single.
We single. Same thing.
Don't nobody care about single people no more. Let me stop. Yes, they do. But we're talking about single parents here.
Yes.
All right, guys. People do care about single people. Oh, my God, that was so mean.
I know. Hang up.
Bye. We care about all of you. Bye, baby. My bear. Chaucito.